Okay, so I'm Josefiene. I am the events coordinator slash people person for the Haxe Foundation. And welcome. This is so cool, if you ever thought about how surreal this is, you all traveled like halfway around the world because I posted something on the internet a couple of months ago. It's pretty cool shit. So I want to tell you something that happened when I was 5 years old. When I was 5, I one day thought it would be the greatest thing ever to go and jump down the 3-meter tower in the lake where my grandparents live. So I had just learned how to swim. I wasn't the best swimmer in the world, but I was fairly confident. And I really wanted to jump off that tower because my grandfather used to kind of like jump off of it headfirst to impress me. And I was like, I really wanted to. And so he was very encouraging. And it was like a big thing, like by the time I finally made it up on that tower at 4 p.m. that day, the whole village knew that I was going to jump off that tower. And so I had gotten up that tower several times during the day, and like every time I walked to the edge, I sort of like got nervous because it looks a lot, it looks a lot more dangerous when you're up there than it looks from down, when you're down and looking up. So I walked to the edge like several times and couldn't quite bring myself to do it. And in the end, what happened was that I actually got distracted and stumbled off the tower completely by accident. So that was my big leap of faith when I was 6 years old, which I guess sort of tells you that two things. So first of all, you can have all the information that you want. That's going to get you to the edge of the cliff, but it's not going to make you jump down. So if you want to jump down, you either have to take a leap of faith, so it takes a little faith, or you just stumble down, which I think is how most leaps of faith happen. They're more like a stumble, and then you jump and you catch yourself and walk on. So why am I telling you this? It's because you're actually here. So you all kind of had all the information that you needed about this event. You knew when it was going to happen, and you had like a fair idea that it was going to happen. But in the end, that last step to actually committing and booking the ticket and getting on the plane and making the journey here is quite a bit of a leap if you think about it, right? Like just going to this, it's not for all of you. Some of you actually live here, but like for some people, it's really a journey kind of like from Australia, on the off chance that someone is over there. And why that works is because you kind of make this assumption about faith. You kind of like have a lot of trust. We have a lot of trust in the world, but sometimes that's not quite enough. You always have this like on the fence thing, and then you have to get over the fence. And I think deciding to work with Haxe is a little bit like that as well, because there's a ton of information about Haxe everywhere. You can get all the information that you want and then some. It's not easy to get. I've heard that it's quite a mess to look at it from the outside. But nevertheless, you can get a lot of information about this technology. But actually going and writing something in Haxe, or even like rewriting something that works in Haxe, that's a giant leap of faith, if ever I saw one. That's like, really tumbling down the cliff, and it's going to take you a year to fall, and you hope that, by the time you almost hit rock bottom, you hope that your wings are going to make it in time. So that's pretty amazing. And we take these things totally for granted. So I just kind of wanted to take this opportunity and tell you, you've done some amazing shit here. That shouldn't be taken for granted. And coming back to these little stumbles of faith that we sometimes have, one of them is, for me, what's difficult sometimes is walking up to a person and saying, "Hi, I'm Josefiene. How are you doing? Who are you?" right? For me, that's like my little stumble of faith. That's really difficult for me sometimes. And, or kind of like just walking up to someone and asking a question or trying something new for dinner. But in the end, like all of these little things are what life is mostly made of. I mean, we don't actually hurl ourselves off a giant cliff every day. I mean, some of us do, maybe, but most of us don't, and, thank God not. But life is made up out of these little kind of like acts of courage that we all do. And so I would really, encourage you over the next few days to reach out to each other, take like little leaps of faith, and talk about yourselves and talk to other people about what they're doing and what you're doing, and make this a really good string of moments. And then once we stumble through this faithfully, hopefully we come out the other side with a great experience. And that's really what it's all about, right? So yeah, here's 2 leaps of faith, and I'm glad you took this one. So now we can figure out the stream. How are we doing? Yes, I can. Oh my God, it's almost falling down. This is not